Good morning and welcome to the meditation. Let us start by looking at our posture. Ideally sitting on the floor in full lotus posture. That might be a little bit difficult. You can simply sit cross-legged. You can sit in half lotus or even Burmese style with one leg in front of the other. If you're not sitting on the floor, but if you're sitting on the chair, make sure you're not leaning against the support of the chair and not leaning forward either. Make sure your back is straight. This is the most important in the 7-point Buddha Vairocana posture, is for the back to be straight, for the body to be upright. The hands are in the concentration mudra. So you have your right hand on top of the left. The two thumbs are slightly touching, and this rests on your lap. The shoulders are even and relaxed. Actually, even though your back is straight, you can easily move from left to right. Your body is flexible. The neck is aligned with the spine. You can slightly tilt the head forward, not too much. You can place your tongue towards your upper palate, just behind your upper teeth. This helps to reduce the production of saliva. And we don't meditate with the eyes completely closed. We leave them slightly opened, but we don't pay attention to what our eyes are seeing. It is the mental consciousness that meditates. Now that we have the correct posture for meditation, let us look at our motivation. Why are we meditating? Ultimately, as Lama Zopa Rinpoche says, the goal of our lives is to help others. What does it mean to help others? First, we have to recognize in what condition all sentient beings are. All sentient beings, including ourselves, since beginningless time, have been circling in samsara. Samsara is this vicious prison of the mind. Because of karma and afflictions, we are constantly going from life to life without any control. And in each of these lives, we also cannot control the experiences we are having. They all depend on the karmas we have accumulated in the past. So how can we put an end to this for ourselves and all sentient beings? How does it work? How do we accumulate these karmas? First of all, we have this misconception, we have this apprehension of a solidly existing I. We have this sense that there is a very solid self, there is a very solid I that is truly existing, that is existing independently, that is existing objectively. And because of this misconception, because this I feels so real, we have the feeling that we are the center of the universe, that we are more important than others. This is what we call the inappropriate attention. And this inappropriate attention is what gives rise to all the afflictions, all the mental disturbations. Such as anger, attachment, jealousy, pride, anxiety, depression, and so on and so forth. And because of these afflictions, because of these disturbing emotions, We are, since beginning in this time, we have been engaging in actions that are either non-virtues, that are negative, or in actions that are virtues, but contaminated virtues. Because of this root of self-grasping ignorance, as long as we have that, we engage. And because also of this inappropriate attention, we engage, even when we engage in good actions, they are actions that will give us pleasant effects, pleasant experiences in samsara, but are not freeing us from samsara. But most importantly, we accumulate negative actions, negative karmas. For example, due to excessive attachment, excessive desire, we might engage in stealing, lying, or even killing, hurting others. And this inevitably will ripen in the form of unpleasant experiences, also lower rebirths. But even if we have a higher rebirth, we can see with our own experience, even though we are humans, sometimes we experience suffering due to the negative karmas we have accumulated in the past. So how do we put an end to this samsara? How do we liberate ourselves from this vicious prison of the mind? We have to cut the root cause, which is this self-grasping ignorance, this misconception that the self, the I, is so solid, so independent, so inherently existing. We have to realize what is called the emptiness of independent existence, of this I. In the moment we realize that, no more inappropriate attention, no more afflictions, and therefore no more negative karmas, and no more contaminated virtues karmas either. And when we realize emptiness again and again, motivated by bodhicitta, motivated by the wish to eliminate all our afflictions as well as our cognitive obscurations in order to help sentient beings, in order to guide sentient beings unmistakenly, when we realize emptiness again and again and again directly, then gradually we will eliminate all of these afflictions and all of the cognitive obscurations. Once all these are removed, we will achieve the state of full awakening, the state of a Buddha, that will grant us the omniscience that allows us to know how to guide sentient beings unmistakenly. Why do we want to help sentient beings? Why do we want to guide them? It's because we recognize that they are exactly in the same boat as all sentient beings, as including ourselves, going through all the various types of suffering, constantly taking rebirth again and again in the different states, in the different realms. And we can see with our own eyes the suffering around us. Even if we just look at only human beings, we can see at the moment there are several wars going on in the world. We can imagine the suffering, the pain, of losing near and dear one due to bombs or whatever it is. The anxiety, middle of the night hearing, these alarms that bombs are coming. The famine, especially, in the Middle East now there is big famine, there's shortage of food. Can you imagine the suffering there? As well as around us, we can see people who are suffering from poverty, people who are suffering from sickness. So this is all due to the negative karmas accumulated in the past. Negative karmas accumulated because of the afflictions that are there in the mind, because of the inappropriate attention. And the inappropriate attention is there because of the self-grasping ignorance. So let us try to generate a sense of compassion for ourselves and all sentient beings, thinking, may all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, the karmas and the afflictions. May all sentient beings be free from that. And let us try not only to leave it as a mere wish, but also let us take responsibility. Let us generate a sense of responsibility. I myself will free all sentient beings from suffering and the causes of suffering. Why am I taking responsibility? Because in countless past lives, all sentient beings have been so kind to me, have benefited me. Even in this present life, everything I know, everything I have is due to the kindness of others. Can you imagine just the device you are using to listen to this meditation? How many thousands of millions of people have been involved for you to have this device? How unbelievably kind. Just the fact that it doesn't cost millions to have this device, because can you imagine if only one piece of this device was produced for you to have? It would have costed millions and millions just to create one device. But because there are so many other human beings on the planet, we do this mass production, and therefore the costs are very low. So there are many ways now we can reflect on the kindness of others. This is one of the ways. So not only have they been incredibly kind to me, all sentient beings, in this life, in countless past lives, but also in this present life, I have this, what we call the precious human rebirth, which means basically that I am a human with all my faculties, all my senses, but more specifically, I live at a time in a world where the Buddha appeared, the Buddha turned the wheel of Dharma. The teachings are still very much available today, especially with internet, just a few clicks, and we can learn about the teachings of the Buddha. There are many followers of the Buddha's teachings around the world who can support us, and there are many actually people who are helping the followers of the Buddha. So I have all the conditions. Basically, this precious human rebirth means that I have all the conditions that are necessary for me to transform my mind in this life. I have this incredible opportunity to listen to the teachings of the Buddha, to contemplate on them and to meditate on them in order to transform my mind. So therefore, I'm taking the responsibility to free all sentient beings from suffering and the causes of suffering. In this life, I will do whatever it takes to eliminate all my afflictions and cognitive obscurations in order to guide all sentient beings. Let us try to generate this most beautiful mind of bodhicitta. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. So with this motivation in mind, we will engage in Shamatha practice this morning, calm abiding meditation, in order to train the mental factors of introspection and mindfulness that are essential in our journey towards awakening. So for this meditation, As most of you probably are aware, there are 4 instructions. The first one is the posture that we looked at the beginning of the session. There are 7 points for the posture. The most important is for the back to be straight, for the body to be upright. The second point is that we need an object of meditation. If you're familiar with Shamatha, I encourage you to keep the object that you usually meditate on and to keep that object in all your Shamatha sessions. If you're not familiar with this meditation, I would recommend to use the breathing sensation at the entrance of the nostrils. Try to place all your attention there. See how it feels when you breathe in, when you breathe out. What is the sensation? What is the feeling at the entrance of the nostrils? And try to remain there for the entire duration of the meditation. The third instruction is that there are 2 common errors in meditation. There are 2 main ways we lose our object of meditation, 2 main ways we get distracted. The first one is called mental excitement. Basically, we are distracted with thoughts, mainly about past and future, and therefore we lose our object because our mind wanders. The second is called mental laxity or mental dullness or lethargy. Basically, we don't put enough application in our meditation, and therefore the mind starts to sink, kind of falls asleep. So this is the second way. And finally, the last instruction is that there are 2 antidotes, 2 mental factors that we need to use to counteract these 2 errors. The first is called alertness, or also called introspection. So basically, during the meditation, while our main focus is our object of meditation, for example, the breathing sensation at the entrance of the nostrils, while we are mainly focused there, in the background, there is a part of your mind that is constantly checking, am I meditating? Am I concentrated on my mental object, on my object of meditation? And the moment this introspection notices that the mind has been distracted with thoughts or with lethargy, then we make use of the second antidote, the second mental factor, which is called mindfulness. And the role of mindfulness is to bring the mind back onto the object of meditation and make sure it stays there. An analogy that I like to use is that if you have a pet dog at home and the dog runs away, introspection notices that the dog is gone, and mindfulness brings the dog back home and also makes sure it stays there by, for example, tying him against the pillar. So similarly, we are using introspection and mindfulness with our mind and our object of meditation. So we will now do this meditation for about 10 minutes. gently come out of the meditation. And we can dedicate the merits that we have accumulated so that we may soon, very soon, fully develop our mental factors of introspection and mindfulness, so that we may be able to achieve perfect concentration and use this perfect concentration to realize bodhicitta and the wisdom of emptiness, of inherent existence, of the self and of all phenomena. Due to these merits, may we soon, very soon, become fully awakened Buddhas in order to liberate all sentient beings. May the precious mind of bodhicitta that has not a reason arise and grow, and may that which has a reason not diminish but increase forevermore. May the wisdom realizing emptiness that has not a reason arise and grow, and may that which has a reason not diminish but increase forevermore. May His Holiness the Dalai Lama have a very long and healthy life, so that he may continue to teach us for a very, very long time. May we soon have the fortune to find the unmistaken reincarnation of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, so that Rinpoche may continue to guide us and lead the organization. Finally, due to all our merits of the 3 times, may the wars that are happening around the world immediately come to an end. May there be no new wars. May there be no famine, no epidemic, no natural catastrophes and disasters of the elements. May peace and harmony prevail in everyone's hearts and lives. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. And tonight at 6:30 we'll have a discussion at Tushita with Lokesh. Lokesh was one of the students of the first batch of the Nalanda Masters course of Tibet House, the cultural center of the Dalai Lama. So the discussion he will lead tonight is about faith and reasoning. Like why do we think faith is not reason and reason is not faith, and so on and so forth. So this will be the discussion tonight at 6:30 in person at Tushita, as well as online here on Zoom. And tomorrow at 6:30 we'll have the Medicine Buddha Puja. On Thursday we will have the movie 100 Yaks. So very welcome to join us for that. Tomorrow and Thursday is only in person for the puja and the movie. So very welcome to join us at Tushita for that. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, and have a very beautiful day. Bye-bye.